And then the next one is basically a pattern I recognize is how much, highly successful individuals, even something that I started to do, and I can see a huge difference, is actually dedicating time in my day to read books and take courses is had a huge impact. And it's a common practice among I see in highly successful people, either they're in business or even in sports. And I see people like Steph Curry, Jeff Bezos, Tom Brady, these guys are readers. They read books. They have coaches. They take about their own development very seriously, right? Because I mean, one of the things I'll tell you is many people kind of wait till their employer to invest in their education and their development, and I think this is a very risky thing to do. Because one of the things I tell people, you need to start looking at your own self as a company that you're developing and investing and building. And if you're not willing to do that, waiting for somebody else to do that is a very dangerous and risky thing. Because what if they never do? And what if what they recommend, what they think is right for you is only right for them? What if it's not right for you? So make sure that when you start investing in your own education by it could be reading books or taking courses or going to workshops like this, right? I mean, I'm kind of could be preaching to the choir here, because you are in a personal development workshop, but it is a very important thing to do daily, right? To practice taking courses and reading books. And it's a practice that I learned from, I didn't mention it, but from a personal development expert known as Brian Tracy. And he calls it the golden hour rule. And he's a pattern that he has recognized a lot of professionals do in top of their field, is to read 1 hour a day or study 1 hour a day. And he called it the golden hour rule. Like, you can, if it's 1 hour is too much, you can start with 30 minutes or so, practice the even smaller. If you have a hard time doing it, go like 5 minutes even. But it's just little habits have a huge impact, right? So something for you to kind of think about and do. And obviously audiobooks, newsletters, and podcasts really works really well as well. And then make sure that you keep your journal and then write some of the lessons that you learn and see how you can apply what you learn in your life or professional work, right? So that's a very key important thing. And when I tell people when they're learning, is start with reading and taking books, not necessarily what would be good for your career, but something you initially, if you're not used to it, is start with things you love reading, right? Start taking courses you love, get into that practice and the habit. Once that is going, then you can start doing things that are more relevant, that can actually improve your skills further and put you even a little bit more uncomfortable. Because I see a lot of people who are trying to how it's you grow in enduring uncomfort. It is true, but if you're always uncomfortable and always stressed out and anxious, you're not going to continue to be uncomfortable to grow. So first you need to establish a foundation that you have an easier time practicing and learning and doing the activity you need. Then once that is become comfortable, then you can push forward. But creating a foundation, what I mean is essentially is reading something you love or like at least 30 minutes to 1 hour a day to get that habit going. And you will see that your capacity to work, I noticed this, and I noticed in a lot of people as well, your capacity to work and understand information will increase like there's no tomorrow. It's one of the biggest ones I've seen is it's that it definitely increases your capacity to learn and increase, so make sure that you keep this advice in your mind when you're going forward. Okay, so that's something. And yeah, so like if you have a hard time, I would say, even if it's like I said, starting this one, for a lot of people, the reading books is a problem. Audiobooks is fine as well. So there's a lot of audiobooks available on YouTube, right? So start with that if you don't have a budget to do that. And there's a lot of audiobooks available on YouTube. So I'm going to give you a couple of recommendations. Some of these ones you probably already have seen, but there are ones that seems to be keep coming up. For like example, like How to Win Friends and Influence People. I tell a lot of people tell me they have read it, but then I ask them, can you tell me the 30 principles in there? many people can't. So a lot of people tell they study, they know it, they read it, but they cannot even mention 10 of them. So I would say study this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, like it's a textbook, like a course, right? It's a really good book in terms of developing great relationships, because you realize your professional success primarily comes from how well you deal with people and how much you get along, right? So make sure you know the 30 principles inside and out in that book. And another book that will really good for you will be like Maximum Achievement. It's a very personal development heavy book, right? But it's a book that I kind of really enjoy reading, because that's the one that kind of got me started in that direction of developing myself personally. So something for you to take a look at. And then Atomic Habits is a great book if you want to develop habits, but he talks a lot about starting your habits really small and systemizing it, right? Like having a system to do it, having reasons to do it. So that's really important as well. And the next really good book is one of my favorites, actually. What I would say my favorite subject matter and my specialist subject matter as well, which is The Mind, which is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. So that's a really good book if you want to learn how to reprogram your subconscious mind, learn about what your subconscious mind can do for you and things like that. And again, that's my favorite subject matter and favorite area. So we'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to be on the next slide. We're going to be talking about the mind a little bit further. And then also there's a really great book called A Course in Miracles by Helen Schucman. So this is tend to be more of a mind training, a spiritual text in nature. So this is a little bit advanced, might be advanced to some of them. Some of you have already come across it and used it and have experiences with it. So it's quite a interesting book, actually. These are some of the places that you can essentially get going and start with. Okay.